My grandmother, Meemaw, cast a long shadow in the cooking department. She was famous for her amazing fried chicken and biscuits and gravy that she made in her little house. I grew up in East Tennessee in the 70s, where I spent many glorious, sunshiny hours in her garden. Canning produce was part of life, not hipster cool. There was no farm-to-table movement, it just was. Meemaw was multi-talented and made feed sack dresses for her daughters, which, before you judge, were really beautiful. You should Google it later. Feed sack dresses were definitely reality after World War II. One of the wearers of those dresses, my mom, Melanie, did not inherit my grandmother's cooking skills. My mom was smart, resourceful. She won a trip to Chicago through 4-H Club when she was young, quite an accomplishment for a girl from rural Tennessee. My mom turned out to be an excellent leader, and she managed the local high school cafeteria when I was a child. Meemaw ended up working as a cook in that same cafeteria that my mom managed. Let's be clear, my mom managed and my Meemaw cooked. I was hoping that the cooking gene that was recessive in my mother would present itself in me. Not so. And no one ever told me that a big part of being a mother included feeding your family. Every day. Every day, every meal, and then you have to do it again in 3 or 4 hours. Or maybe sooner, and then you do it again. From nursing to making mac and cheese to full-blown gatherings. No one warned me this might get old, and I would run out of ideas. And there's no pressure, but your family needs to eat to live. I am now the mother of 3 boys. Once my oldest child, when he was a little more than 3 years old or so, looked lovingly at my husband and said, "Daddy, you're the king." I smiled and said, "Well, if Daddy's the king, then what's Mommy?" And he said, "You're the cooker." But I didn't want to be the cooker. I wanted to be the queen. But I'll have to admit that even being seen as a cooker was encouraging. I can count on my boys always to say the most encouraging things. Like when my 6-year-old was in the dressing room with me at Old Navy when I tried on clothes, and he told me those jeans would be perfect if you could get them up all the way. The fact is, I'm not a good cooker. I struggle with the role of cooking. How can I spend $208 at the grocery store and not have a real dinner? And I'm not even talking with a side dish, just dinner. How can anyone who watches Food Network, gets Food Network magazine, is blessed with the resources to be able to buy a cart full of groceries at the grocery store, how can that person not end up with a beautiful meal at the end of the day? I'm an educated woman and it's frustrated me. I was also frustrated that I never paid closer attention to Meemaw's cooking. Meemaw taught me many things. If you wanted to remove a wart, the best way was to steal your neighbor's dish towel, rub it on the wart, and then bury the dish towel in the backyard. She taught me that you never, ever left someone's house through a different door from the one you entered because it would bring bad luck. She taught me that the last piece of biscuit dough that was too small to make a full biscuit was placed on the pan and baked anyway. That was the dog's bread, but she didn't have a dog. Some of her sayings were more like life lessons. One of her favorites was, "You can live on love." I remember her at the grocery store counting out her change from a little cloth bag she kept tucked in her purse. And I thought, you really can live just on love, because there wasn't much for her to count from. She also taught me that if you make your bed hard, you lay in it hard. And of course, you reap what you sow. These life lessons came around to me. One afternoon, I was sitting on the couch just having nursed the newborn baby boy. Boppy pillow on the lap, newborn baby on the boppy. The 2-year-old finally asleep in his crib. I was exhausted, sweaty, gross, grumpy, and just feeling all the effects of having a couple of kids. Earlier that day, though, I had managed to get to the grocery store and gather food for dinner. Sloppy Joes. I had managed the newborn, the 2-year-old, the grocery store, and was looking forward to providing dinner for my family. And then I got that jolt, that realization that I had forgotten something. And I was furious. Buns. No buns. I had meat, tomatoes, tomato paste, all the spices, but no buns. You can't have sloppy joes on sandwich bread. Which Frankly, I probably didn't have either. But so I was a terrible wife, a mother, not a cooker. I was sweating, still wearing maternity pants and nursing pads, and I had hormones enough for everyone in the free world. The husband would be home in an hour. I could not even pull together the ingredients for sloppy joes, for Pete's sake. And then the phone rang, and it was someone who never called me. She never called me, and no one before or since has ever called me and said the thing that she said to me in that very moment. I answered, hello. She said, Laura, hi, it's Jeanette. It was my next door neighbor. Oh, hi there. She said, I'm at the grocery store. And I just thought I would check on you to see if you needed anything. And I burst into tears of gratitude. And in that moment, knowing that I was the cooker, I felt like I had been repaid 10 times over through divine intervention for any kindness I had ever done. If I'd ever sown just a bit of goodwill, I was eternally grateful for what was about to be returned to me. And I learned that you really can live on love.